So welcome, hello, my name is Jeff, and today we're going to talk about something unique. We're going to talk about data dictionaries and libraries and how you really get started organizing your data so that ultimately you could use that data in machine learning or artificial intelligence, large language models, etc. And maybe you're already being asked to do some of these things at work. So I'm going to show you how to set this up just using Office 365 for your personal information, or maybe you have a small business. This is an easy way to set up your own personal data dictionary. Now, we're not collecting a lot of information. As you can see here on the screen, we're just collecting the asset, the type of the asset, where the asset is, and where the tag is. These are data components. And I'm going to show you an example of how we can go ahead and just use an everyday email message to populate this data library. So stay tuned. I'm going to walk you through everything, including the automation and how to build it yourself. And after you view this video, you'll be able to build this yourself. So stay tuned. Okay, the first place we need to start is to build ourselves a list. Now remember, inside of Office 365, we can just go over and click on lists. And then, of course, we can select a new list, which is outside of our preview box here. There we go. Click on a new list, and then just kind of follow blank list and kind of follow it along. What we're developing and we want is right here. This is a text field called data asset, a text field called data type, a text field called data location, and a text field called data tags. This is a very simple list that you can begin to kind of get your feet wet with this. If you stay with the same labels, the same column names here that I have, the automation will be a lot easier to follow along. So let's go over to the automation. So we're going to build out we're going to use email to submit information into our data catalog. So what we don't want is another list or spreadsheet. Okay, I just finished working on a document. Yeah, it would be great to have it in a centralized list somewhere, but now I got to go and add that to the list manually, and I never remember, and it's just another thing I have to do. But hey, wouldn't it be easy if when you're working on that asset, you could just type it in an email subject line and send it on its way, and it automatically gets logged into your personal data dictionary, or data catalog. Then you can take and access it anytime. Now I'm using the words data dictionary, data library, data assets. There's a lot more meaning to those words than I'm explaining here in the video today. But it's a place to list all of your information. So let's look at what the flow does here. So this is in Power Automate. Remember, in Power Automate, it's pretty simple, right? We just go here to Power Automate and we select new. We create a new one here, right here, create. And then what we're using is an automated cloud flow to do this piece right here, which ends up right here. So you look up when a new email and then go from there. I will have a little step-by-step guide available in the future, so keep your eye open on my media channels and you'll be able to see that. So what do we need to do here with this one? When a new email arrives, we're going to look for DD2. So that's what I've defined here. Do you see it right there in the front? DD2. So that means every message that gets sent has to have DD2 in it. Why? Because I don't want to get everything into my data library. I only want the things that are actually assets to log there. So I'm going to put DD2. Everything else looks the same, and I'm looking at the inbox. I could look at other folders if I wanted to within my inbox. I'm just doing it on my inbox. Now I have to do one thing to this data. When it's received, remember, I'm looking at it right here from on the subject line only. Notice here the body of the text, it doesn't matter. But the subject line is what I'm looking at. So I have to turn this, basically, I'm going to input or grab this information from the subject line and I'm going to turn it into an array. Because once I turn it into an array, then I can split it up and move it into different fields. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So here, this is the movement into the array. And so just copy this. We're basically looking at the subject line of that email message when it comes in, and we're separating it by the comma. So you could use anything, use semicolon, whatever you want, colon, but remember you use the colon a lot, so and the comma is pretty easy to use. So whatever you decide, it's the comma that breaks the data up, okay? So for example, for example here, when it says DD2 comma, that's field column 0. Dictionary, data dictionary library, that's column 1. Draft is column 2. This is this whole thing here, column 3. This is column 4. Okay, notice we have that comma there behind it. All right, so we're going to split that. No big deal, right? And that's in a compose action. Remember, to get to these actions, you're going to click on the plus sign, hit there, and go compose. Okay, and then you'll select compose right there. All right. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to initiate some variables. Now, I always initiate the variable and then set the variable. You don't have to do it that way. I just do it that way because it's easier for me to troubleshoot. So I'm just going to set and establish these variables. I'm going to establish one variable per column name. So let's pull that out there, and we'll kind of pull this up here. Make that a little bit smaller. All right, well, can't really see it. But you see here, data type, data location, data type, data location, data tags. So I'm creating, and then you've got data asset, and the hidden one is title, which is DD2. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a string variable for each of those. So notice here, this is var email DD2, and I rename everything. You don't have to rename. Remember, to rename, you just click there on the new designer. Var data asset's a string, data type's a string, data location is a string, and data tag is a string. So I'm going to create these 5 variables. All right. Now, remember, pause the video. Go and do this task. Do these things while I'm explaining it to you, and then you'll have a working model here. It's not that tough. I know there's a lot of boxes on the screen, but you're kind of doing the same thing for each one. Okay, now that I've created all of these variables, now I have to set the variable, meaning that I have to take information from the email message that I've received, from the subject line, remember this information. I have to take this information, extract it now, so that I can populate a SharePoint list. So let's go ahead and do that. So to do that, we're going to use a set command, and we're going to set this variable. So the command here, the thing that you're looking for, the action is what you're looking for, is set var. Okay, and you'll see down here, right there, set variable. You can spell it out and it gets a little closer to the top, but set variable. Here it is right here. Notice that the first one I'm pointing to is email DD2. Then I picked the name. Where are these names coming from? These names are coming from these variables that we established. That's the name of the variable. Now I'm with the set command, I'm applying the information to that variable that I initiated or built here, right in this side. Okay, so here we're going to do it for each one. We're going to do a set. Now notice that I call these variables and these sets, because notice the icon is the same. Come on, Microsoft, let's get a little different shade or different color for each of these. But this is initialized, this is set. Yes, they're all variables, but it would be nice to not have to do this. But anyways, I put set in there so I don't forget. And then we're going to go ahead and click on this and see what it looks like. So here, remember I told you that position 0, 1, this is position 0. This is position 1, right? Notice there's a comma there and a comma there. So everything to the left of the comma is 0. Between that comma and that comma is 1, etc., etc. And so what we're pulling out, because it's DD2, we're pulling out position 0. So I'm just going to copy this bad boy. And outputs, of course, is from the output from the email message itself, okay? And then you can look down here, data type, and it's the same thing. Notice I'm going to position 2 there. Data asset, I should be going to position 1. Okay, so I'm going to set all of those. So create a set variable for all of those. Then your final step is just to create the SharePoint entries. That's it, into your list. So what am I going to call? I'm just going to call my variables. So here, if I click on here, I can see all my variables. Notice here, title. Title happens to be the only one that's not exactly the same, which is email DD2. So we're going to do that one. But here, asset, right? So I'm just going to click on that, and I'm going to add those variables. Why? Because that's a variable that I've trimmed down and extracted from the subject line. Okay? Now, I've got it all created. Let's go ahead and give it a whirl. Give it a test. So we're going to go ahead and save, and then we're going to go ahead and run a test on this. So, although you can't see my screen. Okay, now we're going to hit test. And it's going to ask me to do this. I'm going to say to do it manually because I want to see this come into it. So, create an email, but don't hit go yet. Don't hit send. I'm going to say manual and test. And notice here now it's asking me, well, hey, where's that email at? So I'm going to go ahead and hit send. Now, in a minute, that email will transfer over and it's going to come into my email box here. And there it just came in. You can't see it. It's coming up on another screen. And then we're going to see this in action and we'll see the green marks. Now, this is the new designer. The old designer would let you kind of see all of the green check marks as you went down all of your flow to see like, yeah, all right, I'm winning, it's working. But this one just spins a little blue circle on it. So again, Microsoft, let's get that fixed. All right, so anyways, we got a 3 here. It took 3 seconds. We looked at everything. We built everything out, and then we created something. So let's go see what we created. We go to the list itself. Shoot, where is it? Right there, data dictionary. We're going to click on it. And sure enough, this is the document that we put in. Data dictionary document, draft. We're going to do G document, that's data location. And then we're going to put data library / data assets. That's all the information that came from that email message. So this is a great idea, right? Anything, let's say you're trying to collect information from a bunch of users. You could use this same strategy. Just have them put an email message. Hey, put this in your email message, DD2, comma, your name, comma, yes or no. And then when they do that, all of that data is going to come right back here into the columns that you've defined. You're going to have to use your creativity, but go back and view the video and see how to do this. But I've done one other thing today I want to show you that is something for me. So I use Evernote a lot to kind of keep up with my information. And here, so I've created a report. I'm just going to go in there and show you what this report looks like. Then we're going to hit run on it. So here, I just run the report once a week. It's a recurrence once a week, okay? And what I'm doing is I'm getting items from that data dictionary list. So you can see it there, okay? And then what I'm doing is I'm creating a variable again, a string variable, and I want to create an action. Now, in this action, I'm just going to create a report that's a vertical report, not a horizontal report, just a vertical report that goes down and it's going to give me this information. These are all of the fields, columns that I have inside of my list, right? So I'm going to get this information out, but I want it to be out in a like a email, but I'm storing it in Evernote. Okay, so I got it there. So I do that, and then once I append this, then I'm just going to go down here and send an email. Now I'm sending it to Evernote, okay? That's the address to Evernote. And I'm putting in at data dictionary because that's a notebook in Evernote. I'm going to dump all these in. And then I'm just pulling this right here, right there, that variable, okay? And then I'm just hitting run. So let's go ahead and just go out there and run the report real quick. So there's the report. We're just going to hit run on that. Now this will run weekly, but if I want one like right now, so I can show this to you, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I can click on here and I can see that it's already finished, only 9 seconds, doesn't take that long to run. And then I'm going to go ahead and look at my Evernote and see if I have that information inside of a report. And sure enough, I do. There it is. The data asset is the data dictionary document, the papers, it's in draft. It shows what it is, and then it shows when it was created. So now I can go in here into Evernote and say, hey, I need to, geez, where is that paper on dictionary? So I can just go ahead and type that in, and it'll automatically find the information for me. I don't have to worry about where it is on my drive or do searches. Yes, I can do a search, but a lot of times I'll have multiple documents working on the same thing in multiple areas. I don't want to worry about where it is. So if I just tell it where it is, I can find it. Now, this is the beginning, just scratching the surface of a data strategy for your environment. You're going to need to build out more information, how many fields and what the values of those fields are, and the data lengths and where the data is coming from. And all of that stuff gets very complicated very fast. But this is a great way to kind of sharpen your data hygiene and be able to find your information much faster than you ever could just kind of looking through directories and doing searches of hard drives or Google Drive or wherever you have your data. So good luck. Hopefully you've gotten something from the video. Go back and view it. Set this up. It works like a charm. Good luck.